A Beginner's Guide to Flying a Quadcopter. Have you ever had a chance to fly a quadcopter, also known as a drone or UAV? If not, you have no idea just how exciting it is to fly these machines with precision accuracy using a remote controller. However, once you do attempt to fly one, you will encounter many problems in the beginning. This is because this type of an aerial machine is extremely sophisticated, and it requires a good number of trial-and-error attempts to master the skill of handling it perfectly. Whether you have already tried your luck on UAV flying, or you yet have to take your first drone in the air, this video will help you learn the basics of UAV flying and refine your skills so that you can tremendously enjoy this pastime. Here is a step-by-step guide to mastering the art of drone piloting to impress others or simply have a great time flying recreationally. Parts and controls. First of all, you need to gain knowledge about various parts and components a quadcopter is assembled with. Mainly, there are 3 parts of a quadcopter or drone: remote controller, propellers, built-in camera. A remote controller or transmitter allows the pilot to control the quadcopter and change its settings according to your skill level. The device needs batteries to operate. Propellers spin and make the drone take off. The faster these spin, the faster the drone moves. A quadcopter consists of 4 propellers. A camera is an optional part for many quadcopters that are designed just for fun. However, if your drone comes with a camera, you should be very careful in its handling because a lot of collision and failed landing attempts might break the camera lens and render it useless. There are 4 controls that allow a person to maneuver a quadcopter in the air. These are known as roll, pitch, yaw, and throttle. Roll and pitch make the machine move left or right, and forward or backwards, respectively. As it is clear from the name, roll makes the quadcopter roll. Yaw, on the other hand, means rotating the machine left or right. Throttle is used to adjust the altitude of the drone in the air. You can move it either backwards or forwards. Flight modes. The remote controller comes with a few buttons that can be pressed to adjust flight modes. Basically, there are 2 flight modes available with any quadcopter: manual and auto. In manual mode, when you tilt the drone using the roll control and then let go of the stick, the copter will not return to its initial position. Instead, it will stay tilted to the angle where you left the stick. On the other hand, in auto flight mode, the drone auto-levels itself back to its original stance once the sticks are centered. Make sure you practically experiment with your drone to learn all the controls separately before moving on to the next section. If you're not familiar with the controls, you will never be able to fly a quadcopter in peace. It will either move too fast or go upwards and hit the ceiling. Also, see how slowly you need to throttle in order to take the machine off the ground safely and expertly. You also need to remember that a quadcopter has a front side and a back side. If the quadcopter is facing you, the above-mentioned controls are switched. If previously pushing the right stick to the left made the machine roll to the right, now it will make the machine roll to the left. All other controls are also adjusted accordingly. Features of a transmitter. The transmitter, also known as the remote controller, comes with a number of parts, buttons, antenna, and handle. There are 2 sticks, right and left. The right one controls roll and pitch, and the left one controls yaw and throttle. Recall that throttle adjusts the altitude of your drone, and yaw allows you to rotate it in either direction. Then there are trim buttons with each stick that are used to balance out the controls. You will need to fly your drone by pushing the throttle stick upwards, and then see if it tilts automatically or flies itself to some direction without you even pushing the other controls. When this happens, you will need to use the trim buttons on your transmitter to adjust the controls. Before your first flight. Once you have learned all the controls and gotten yourself familiar with the main parts of a quadcopter, it's time to get ready for your first flight. However, before doing that, it is a good idea to check a few things in order to ensure a safe and enjoyable flight. Here are a few steps to follow. Make sure you have fully charged all the batteries, including the quadcopters and the remote controllers. Also, make sure they are inserted in the right place. Make sure the place you have chosen for flying has enough room for launch and flight. Check the transmitter by turning it on, and move the throttle stick down to the lowest level. Adjust your own position so that you can see the quadcopter all the time and maintain a safe distance. Don't turn your back on the quadcopter because it will interfere with proper flight and make all the controls go wayward. If your quadcopter goes out of range, it will start flying on its own and crash land somewhere. So always follow your quadcopter around if you want to move it to various locations. Let's fly the quadcopter. In order to take off, you only need to push the throttle up, but make sure you do it very slowly till the copter lifts off. Push it back to 0 to see how the machine will land once the flight is over. Remember, this is the most important step, so master it by repeating it many times and then checking if the copter tries to move on its own. If you are not pushing any controls and the machine is still rotating, rolling, or moving, you need to use the trim buttons to balance it out. Without doing this step, you won't be able to get a smooth flight, so don't overlook its importance. To hover in mid-air, you will need to experiment a little with the controls. When you decide your flight is over and the machine now needs to land, slowly start cutting back on the throttle. Remember, there is nobody aboard the copter, so even if it drops to the ground, it's perfectly all right. Just make sure you only push the throttle suddenly to 0 when the machine is only an inch or two from the ground. Learning the directions. Once your quadcopter is in the air, you can fly it forwards, backwards, to the left, and to the right. You need to hold the left stick, or throttle, at all times to keep the machine airborne. The right stick will then be used to move it in any direction you want. The basic 4 directions are easy to learn. However, once you have mastered these controls, you should move on to experiment with yaw to rotate in mid-air. These are the steps to make your first flight successful. With time and practice, you will learn more advanced functions to fly your quadcopter in various patterns and thoroughly enjoy the experience. Some examples of various patterns include flying the drone in a square pattern or in a circle. You will need to hold down on one of the controls to make this happen repeatedly. Changing directions and rotating at the same time allows you to fly your copter continuously in the air. It's a good practice to fly up to an altitude of a few feet in the beginning, so that your drone doesn't get out of control. There are some safety precautions to protect yourself and other people, as well as the machine from damaging itself and crash landing. Remember to pull down on the throttle to 0 if you see your quadcopter going out of control and about to crash or collide with something. Always stay away from the spinning propellers, and do not handle a quadcopter when the propellers are rotating. This happens when you are trying to teach someone else to fly a drone, and then you try to pick it up. When the transmitter is in someone else's hands and it's on, the propellers can start spinning any time, so be very careful. Conclusion. Not everybody can fly a quadcopter with confidence because of a number of different controls, its sophisticated design, and intricate machinery. Even taking it off the ground and keeping it in the air without damaging objects that come in between is an art to master. Beginners especially find it hard to fly a quadcopter without experiencing crash landing. Follow the previously mentioned guide if you are trying to polish your drone flying skills or wish to master this art to enjoy this activity to the fullest. We hope you found this video informative. Check out our other videos to find out what's new in the drone industry. Are you looking for the best pilots in the country to compete for your business? Go to uavlance.com. For the best rates on drone rentals or to rent out your own drone, go to uavlance.com. To find full-time employment or to bid on UAV jobs, go to uavlance.com. To organize or enter a local drone race, go to uavlance.com. To search the only drone insurance comparison site on the internet, go to uavlance.com. To search the only drone attorney comparison site on the internet, go to uavlance.com. To enter pilot skills challenges and earn money, go to uavlance.com. To search the lowest prices on drones on the internet, go to uavlance.com. To learn the latest best practices in UAV services, go to uavlance.com.